Hello, my name is Chris, and in this video I hope to answer the question: should you update your firmware of your Samyang lens from version 1 to version 3? First of all, how do you see which firmware is on the lens at the moment? With Canon lenses you can see this in the camera. With this lens you cannot see it. It doesn't say anywhere firmware version. Well, the best way to do this is to attach the lens to a lens station. I have one over here from Samyang. It has to be a Samyang one. If you don't have one of these, you cannot see in the camera what firmware is on the lens. What you can see if there's functions that are in firmware 3, like IBIS support, if you can see them in the menu. For that you have to go to the shoot menu. And in this menu on page 7, you can see if there is the option to turn on IBIS support. If you don't see this option, the lens is using firmware 1 or version 2. If the option is available, you already have firmware 3 on the lens. So what's the difference between firmware 1, 2 and 3? The update from firmware 2 is that they have improved the continuous autofocus function. It should be better and quicker in version 2 than in version 1. There's an aperture exposure optimization. I think this is to do with the lens stated that the exposure was spot on, and then the resulting photos, they were not spot on. Another improvement is improved aperture error at certain circumstances of the Canon R5 and R6. They fixed that also. And in firmware 3 they now support IBIS, the in-body image stabilization, and they improved the high-speed continuous shooting, that's the green H+, and the normal H mode. So, because version 3 is out now, version 2 is not available anymore. If you go to the download section on the website and you want to download version 2, you get redirected to version 3. So we can assume that all the updates in firmware 2 are also included in firmware 3. So let's see the difference between version 1 and version 3. First, we'll have a look at the continuous autofocus function. As you can see at version 1, it's quite slow, especially when you come from out of the frame into the frame. When it's got your eye locked, it stays on there most of the time. Let's update the lens. To update the lens, you have to attach it to the lens station. There's no other way to update the lens. With Canon lenses, you can do this with putting the new firmware on the memory card, but with Samyang lenses, you need a lens station. And as you can see on this lens, there's firmware version 1. Would you like to update the lens? Yes or no? Yes, we would like to do that. And it only takes about a minute to update the lens. So we speed up this process. And as you can see, everything is completed. So we connect it again. And we can see that now version 3 is on the lens. So we close the program. We disconnect the lens, put them back on the camera, and we'll see if the continuous autofocus is better now. As you can see, it's a bit quicker. It's still searching for a while, but it looks to me as it's a bit quicker finding a person, but when my face goes out of the view, then it takes a bit longer to find the background. You can see it's not the same all the time, but it looks a bit quicker to me. So now jump into the menu and see if we can turn on the IBIS support. And as you can see, there is now a function called IS mode. And here we can turn on the IBIS support. As you can see also there's a green H+ in the screen, so that's also supported now. So everything they stated, you can see it's in there. I went outside and I tried to film with IBIS support, and as you can see There's a little movement, but it looks actually pretty good. And this is without the IBIS support. And as you can see, that's quite a difference. And now I do a movement without the IBIS support. And as you can see, I'm not really a stable person. But now with IBIS support, it's actually usable. If I try it a few more times. And this is with IBIS support, and it actually looks quite good. I use this setup so I can hold the camera with two hands. I'm using the Canon EOS R6, and as you can see, I also have a monitor attached to it. After the video, I try to make some pictures with IBIS support. This picture has a shutter speed of 1 second. And as you can see, the flag is moving, of course. The boat and the tree behind it are looking quite sharp. It's actually a picture I can use. Let's go to the next picture without the IBIS support. And as you can see, it also has a shutter speed of 1 second, but with the IBIS support turned off. And then the boat is getting really unsharp. So that's the difference between IBIS and not IBIS. And here I made the same picture. This one has a shutter speed of 0.6 seconds with IBIS turned on, and the next is the same without IBIS support. Then I took a photo of this turning windmill on the boat. This photo also has a shutter speed of 1 second and IBIS support turned on. And the next one is 1 second without the IBIS support. And as you can see, there's a lot of movement in the photo. After that, I put on my variable ND filter and I made a few more pictures. This picture has a shutter speed of 2.5 seconds. And this picture also has a shutter speed of 2.5 seconds. It's all handheld. You can see what IBIS support does to your pictures. You can get some really nice effects with it. If you want to see my full review of the lens, in the next video I will show you the pictures I took with it and I tell you my thoughts about this lens. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. See you in the next video.